All right, and good morning. Welcome to Morning Brew. I am your host, presenter, John Williams, for representing my company, Infinite Social Solutions. Um, we offer IT services and IT management for small, very small businesses. This is a weekly live stream that I do about various topics regarding um, websites, SEO, pretty much anything that my watchers and followers, any questions that they have, I tend to use those questions, turn them into blog posts, turn them into um, live stream videos to answer those questions. So this is every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Runs from 9 to 11, depending on the topic and how long or how many questions there may be from the watchers. All right. So again, every Wednesday, and you can find more information at my website www.infsocialsolutions.com. All right. With that being said, this week's video is going to be about boosting website traffic, and I have a list of 25 or 25 plus proven strategies to boost website traffic. All right, and these strategies can be used for any size business. You don't necessarily have to use all of the strategies. You can pick and choose which ones you have time for. There are some strategies that cost money, so you pick the strategy that that you can afford, or that just makes sense for your company, your business. Just makes sense for what you are actually doing. All right. So before we begin, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Again, um, the stream is scheduled to last till 11 a.m. I'm pretty sure with this presentation, I'll probably be done by say 9:45, 9:50. So if there aren't any questions, I'll end the stream then. However, if there are questions, I'll keep the stream going until 11 a.m. All right. So without further ado, now a lot of my clients, say 90% of my clients, when they come for, and it's those that I build websites for. So clients come to me, they always have questions about driving traffic to their website. It's one thing that I've seen that a lot of business owners, they either don't realize that they need to do something to drive traffic, or it's just something was never on their mind until it becomes a problem, right? So I have one client. They sell baked goods, right? They sell them locally, right? So the only people that they're trying to reach out to are people that live within a 30, 40 mile radius, right? Because they deliver or pick up. So anything outside of that, you can't get any baked goods from. But the problem that they were running into is that before their website, they were used to people calling them directly to put in orders, right? So once we got the website up and running and got it functional, people were able to place orders online. However, over the course of maybe 2 months, client realizes that no one's going to their website, right? They set up this website, has a store, customers can order whatever they want. However, no one was using the website. People were still emailing or direct calling my client to put in orders. Now, as far as one of the problems as a business owner is that you're paying for that website, right? You've put money and invested money into it for no one to use it. So she came to me with that concern. We asked a couple questions. We talked. We figured out what the best strategy was. And what it ended up being was one of the strategies was that she no longer accepted direct orders, meaning she no longer accepted orders from people that called her directly. She no longer would allow orders that came through email. Okay. Now, the only way you can order anything from her now is you have to go to the website. Once the client started doing that, she noticed the uptick in site visits, and primarily 90% of the orders that were coming through the website. Now, people were still calling her, but she would still direct those people to the website. But the traffic to the website shot up significantly, right? Because that was one way of driving traffic to the website. Now, outside of that, outside of people that are intentionally ordering something, how do you get those who may not be aware of the website to come to the website to actually check out, the store and the products and things of that nature? So the other thing that we spoke about was one of the things that the client was not doing was utilizing social media, right? They had social media pages for their business, but they really were not using those pages. And when they did use those pages, those social media accounts, they did not use them properly. And what I mean by not properly is that anytime that the client would post something on social media, they did not direct their followers to the website, right? So again, this client sells baked goods. So whenever they would post a picture of cake, cookies, and things of that nature, right? They made a post. They were pretty decent posts, but they did not direct the client. They did not direct the customers or followers to where to purchase said products, right? So I explained to the client that, that's very important. Like, it's okay. It's fine that you are posting on social media. That's good. But how are your customers going to know where to find your product or how to order your product? So since then, the client has started especially with their Facebook posts and stuff like that. They started including the website in all of their posts, and even retroactively going back and editing their social media posts and adding the website. So right now, they're utilizing social media to drive traffic. They're doing it face to face. So when the client comes or when a customer comes and calls them directly, they're directing them straight to the website. And the other strategy, and we're going to talk about this more, is they actually have blogging capability on their website. So one of the things I suggested to the client was, hey, whether it be once a week, once a month, you really need to start utilizing the blog capabilities on your website and write blogs to basically showcase your products, right? So client created a blog post. They used that blog post and shared it on social media, and that also helped drive traffic to the website. So those are just 3 ways that I help the client drive traffic to their website, and as a result, help drive sales. So, but we're going to go over some methods to help drive traffic to your website. So if you have a question about any of these, again, please feel free to leave a question in the chat, and I'll do my best to try to answer it. All right. So let's start. So number 1, master SEO, which is search engine optimization. So I had last week's live stream was all about SEO, search engine optimization. So if you have any questions about that, you can go back and watch that video. However, SEO is how you get found when someone types something into Google, and yes, it still works if you do it right. Right? So anytime you do a Google search, you'll get a list of websites. Okay? So those websites are ranked from 1 to 1,000, right? The top websites have the best SEO, and there are several different ways of using SEO to get your website seen or to show up more frequently in Google searches, right? I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. Again, I had a video last week. You can go back and find that live video and watch all about SEO. But I'm just going to go over 5 key things that you can do. So number one is do keyword research. You can use free tools like Google Keyword Planner, Uber Suggest, or even People Also Ask on Google. All right. Optimize every page, and that's optimize every page on your website. That means your titles, meta descriptions, headers, and even image alt tags. So, give an example. If you have a picture on your website, let's say, let's go back to my client. They sell cakes, right? Most people don't realize how important this is, but it's very important when it comes to SEO. So your picture is a file, and your file has a name, right? You can name it whatever you want. Since it's an image, it could be blah 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 .jpg. Now, to optimize that image for SEO, what you can do is you can actually put in a couple of keywords that says like chocolate cake, right? You can put in chocolate cake, but you can also add to the file name your business name and the location, right? So it could be like chocolate cake underscore John's Bakery underscore Baltimore, right? That's an example of optimizing an image on your website for SEO. So that means that when the Google bots, when they go and scan your website, they'll pick up on these keywords. So if someone were to go to search chocolate cake Baltimore, that image has a very good chance of showing up in that Google search above other images, right? And if someone's looking for chocolate cake in Baltimore and they go to the image tab in Google search and your picture is number 1 because you specifically used those specific keywords on that image should show up at the top of the list when someone searches for those keywords. So that's how that works, right? Next is create blog content, write posts that answer real questions your audience is asking. Google rewards helpful content, right? So that's another way to drive traffic to your website. You create a blog, you write blog posts. One of the capabilities of blog posts, most blog applications, they allow you to add tags. Tags are basically like hashtags, but they don't have the hash in front of them, right? So what happens is Google, again, sends out its bots to scan your website for specific keywords. It'll go through your blog content. And then the more blog content you have, Google gives you a score. It uses that score to rank your website, and also filters out those keywords. So if someone is searching for something specific, and your business pertains to what they're looking for, and you have these keywords all throughout your website, the chances of your website showing up higher on their search list increases. And that's how that works. So even writing blog content helps. And also too, sharing that blog content, sharing that blog on social media as well, because Google actually does search social media sites like Facebook and LinkedIn to find content as well. And that helps with your overall score for your website. So next one is get backlinks. These are links from other websites. Guest posts, online interviews, or resource listings are good places to start. So when it comes to backlinks are basically your, let's stick with the blog content, right? So let's say you write a blog and another client, they have a blog as well, right? So what they'll do is, so what could happen is that client, they're like, oh, I really like this company's blog post. Let me either link it on my website or let me write a blog post in response to their blog post and link it inside my blog. So what happens is you have like this web, this connection, right? So now your website is connected to somebody else's website because they simply put their link on their website, or they linked your website in their blog post. So now you have this connection here, right? So now when people go to their website and read that specific blog post, they say, oh, they're giving a review about such and such company, oh, here's the link, let me check them out. So they click on the link, it sends it to your business's website. So now you've just pulled in a potential customer, potential client from somewhere else other than your website or your social media, and that's how that works. So be very mindful of that. If you can get your website, if you can get other people to link your website to their website, that helps in the long run. It's a very good way of driving traffic as well. The next one is local SEO. Claim and optimize your Google business profile. So Google, they will give you a free Google business profile. Very important, especially if you're a local business. My client, I primarily work locally here in Baltimore with clients. All my clients are in Baltimore, so I stress this a lot. Having a Google business profile, you should have that before you even have a website. All right. People should know how, or you should be able to be found online even without a website, and the Google business profile helps with that. So if you don't have one, I highly recommend you getting one. It's free. When people do searches, especially again local searches, it's going to pull up local businesses that fall within within the category that your business falls into, right? Again, if you're a local baker, someone does bakeries near me, it's almost guaranteed that if you do have a Google business profile and it does mention that you're a bakery, it's a pretty good chance that you're going to come up in that search. The order really doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter, because when you do a Google search like that, if there's a Google business profile in the category that you're searching, it's going to show every business that has a business profile when you do that search. So even if you're not number one, you are going to show up in that list. You are going to show up on that map. So very important. So again, even if you don't have a website, make sure you have a Google business profile so that you can at least be found online in Google searches. It helps. Trust me. All right. So the next, use social media. A lot of my clients, all of them actually do use social media, but do they use it effectively? Depends, right? So what a lot of people believe is that since they have a social media account for their business, that's all they need, right? That's all they need to do. They don't need to post. They don't need to use it much. But it's really a great tool, one of the best tools to use to drive traffic to the website. A lot of people don't use it because they don't have time, or they don't believe they have time, or they compare themselves to larger companies, larger businesses who have the money and the resources to hire someone to post to social media all day, every day, right? If you're a small business, you really don't need to concern yourself about posting every day. What you do need to do is post at least, in my opinion, at least once a week, right? And then when you do post something, make it post something important. Post something that is going to benefit your business and also your clients, right? Like if you have a new product coming out, you want to post about that. Tell people to go to your website, link your website, have them link your website to drive traffic to your site, right? If you have a new product or you got an event coming up, things of that nature, right? Again, I recommend, even if you don't have time, it only takes a minute or two, just post something, and post something at least once a week, right? The idea is you want to be consistent. The more traffic that you are, or the more views, the more traffic you're getting on social media, that increases the chances of you driving traffic to your website. The way the algorithm works is if you aren't posting, if you aren't doing anything on social media, the less likely you're going to show up on people's timelines. Even when you do post something, the likelihood of it showing up on your followers' timelines, it's probably not going to show up, and they're not going to see it, right? So that's why consistency matters. You can use Reels, Shorts, and TikToks. So video is a huge thing on every social media platform. So if you can, and you don't have to, but if you can, one of the best ways of getting attention on social media and driving traffic is uploading video content. Hashtags matter. They do. Even if you aren't a big user of hashtags, people do use hashtags to find specific things. So when you do upload content to social media, be sure to include some hashtags. Even if you make up a unique hashtag that pertains to your business, and you want to use that every time you upload stuff to social media, because that makes it easy for your followers to find and filter your content when they are on these social media platforms. All right. Engage in DMs. Don't be afraid to start real conversations. Value first, pitch later. I don't do this a lot. Actually, I don't do it very often because I get a lot of clients come to my website and they fill out a form, and then I end up calling them or contacting them via email. But if you're on social media, and you start a conversation with a client, it's okay to take that conversation from the comment section to direct messaging, right? A lot of people fail to do that, especially as their business. If you have a business page, it's good for branding, right? Because it makes people comfortable, right? Knowing that they can contact you via your business's social media page. Makes it real, makes it organic. So if you can, use your direct messaging more on social media. All right. Next up, we have email lists. Now these, building an email list is easy. Harder to come by for some business owners because I notice a lot of people really, even in 2025, a lot of people really aren't very knowledgeable in using email and email applications. I've noticed that a lot. But if you can build an email list somehow, collect, or you should have a client list, a list of clients, and you should have all their email addresses. So that's your email list to start with right there, right? So you can utilize that email list by sending out a newsletter every month, or sending out an email that's promoting a sale that you're having. You can have a sale directed to only previous clients. So if someone bought something from you before, you can say, hey, as a thank you, here's 20% off your next purchase, things of that nature. That's a great way to reach your customers as well, because a lot of people aren't on social media, or they're not on social media often. So you can just send them an email, but don't overdo it. Don't become a nuisance with your emails. I would recommend sending, for starters, I would send out a monthly email just to see how receptive people are. If that works, and you send out a monthly email, then at some point when things start getting better, business starts growing, you can start sending out like an email every other week, like with different sales and things like that. Especially you have new product that's constantly coming in. You want to promote that product, right? So again, start with that monthly email just to get a feel of how customers are receiving your emails. If all goes well, then you can kind of increase the frequency, again, depending on how well your business is growing, how many products you got coming in, so on and so forth, right? But that'll be up to you. If you're finding great success in email marketing, then stick to that, ramp that up, spend time on that. All right. Invest in paid ads. Now, this is something that a lot of my clients they try their best to stay away from paying for ads. The reality of it is that the way that social media, like I'll take Facebook for instance, right? The way social media, the way Facebook is set up, that algorithm, and I've noticed this, and I've seen this pattern over the years. I noticed it with a client some years ago. So Facebook, they won't admit to it. They'll never admit to it. But I've seen it in the actual charts for myself and other clients, right? So you have what's called organic growth, and then you have basically paid growth, right? So organic views, organic growth is, happens when you post something to social media and your followers see it. And let's say, for instance, you post something, 400 of your followers see it, right? Without you having to pay to boost that post, right? So that's organic, right? So 400 followers, you get 400 views, and then maybe like 3 shares, right? Those shares came as a result of you just posting the content and people seeing your content and then sharing it, right? So the more shares you get, the more eyes you get on your content. Now, what I've noticed is over the years, Facebook, what they'll do is for 1 week, you get this amazing organic growth, right? Your posts on social media are getting consistent views for like a week. And then what happens is that next week, even though you've been repeating the same pattern of posting content daily or every other day, so on and so forth, you notice that the next week, the following week, you get way less views, right? You went from averaging 200 views per post to maybe 90 now, right? What's happening is Facebook, again, they won't admit to it, but they are suppressing your content. The reason why they're doing it is because they're trying to basically persuade you into boosting your posts so they can make money, right? So again, that first week, everything was good. You were, bam, people were seeing your posts, they were sharing it. Next week, not so much, because Facebook suppressed your content. Now it's not showing up as much, right? So that pattern, what I was noticing was that was every other week thing, right? 1 week, everything is good. The next week, people aren't seeing my content. Do the same thing. 3rd week, boom, we're back up. People are viewing my content again. 4th week, have even fewer views on the content, right? Because they're trying to manipulate you, trying to trick you into buying ads to make you think, oh, people aren't seeing your content, so now you need to buy ads, right? That's, I hate it, but that's the reality of the situation, right? So if you are getting to a point where you've reached this point where you can't get any more than 500 views on your content that you post on social media, and that's where it stops, and then very rarely goes past that, you may need to consider boosting or buying ads on social media, on Google Ads or YouTube as well too. So, but if you have the money, investing in ads is a great thing. If you don't have the money, don't even really waste the time until you're able to afford buying ads online, on social media, things of that nature. So, next one, number 5, partner with others, collabs and influencers. So this is a good thing. A lot of very successful businesses online, they do this a lot, especially if they post a lot of video. It only really makes sense if you are actually, your business is dependent on actually being seen a lot, right? This is good for this is actually great for if you're an influencer. What you can actually do is you can actually pay an influencer to create an ad for you. This is what a lot of companies are doing nowadays. I see it a lot with I've seen it a lot with movie premieres. I started seeing it earlier this year where they'll have an influencer create a commercial for an upcoming movie, and I thought it was weird at first because I thought it was an actual review, but then I started noticing that they were being those were sponsored ads directly from the studio. So, but again, partner with others. So if there are, if you have a client that is constantly on social media, you say, hey, let me give you a few bucks, or let me give you a discount on a product or free product if you promote my business, right? That's how that works. If you like what I'm doing right now, I have a live stream. I have an audience, right? I could partner with someone. They could say, hey, I'll give you a discount if you, shout out our company during your live streams, or put up a little ad before or after your live stream, right? That's how that would work. That's how you collab with other companies, other influencers, other businesses to get your company out there, get your brand out there. So this is one that I've used in the past. Number 6 is create buzz with giveaways and offers. Very early during my early stages of having this business, this company, I would give away movie tickets, gift cards to attract people to or get people to follow the business page, like the business page, share the business page, things of that nature. So you can have you can run a giveaway, create limited time offers, launch a referral program to create buzz for your business. So that's something to that's a strategy to keep tucked away in your pocket, especially when things are going slow, or even when things aren't slow, when things are doing great, but you still want to keep your business, get eyes on your business, on your company. You could do a giveaway or create limited time offers. The big guys, the big companies, they do this all day, every day, right? Sign up for their email, you may get a gift card, or you may get a discount or something like that. So you can do the same for your business as well too. Number 7, be active in communities. So depending on your business, for myself, I do IT services, IT management. So I'm in a lot of IT groups, and I talk to a lot of IT professionals online and also outside of the online realm in the real world. But yes, be active in communities, talk to other business owners, go into those social media groups that fall into the category of what your business provides, right? Again, one of my clients, they sell baked goods, right? So they're gonna go into groups where people share recipes, or people rate baked goods and things of that nature. So be sure to find communities online, Facebook, even on Reddit, right? Reddit is a great resource. People have questions all the time. You can go in there and answer questions for people, give your feedback on certain things, and that does help. It does help once you build that rapport, once you build those relationships inside those groups. People will, be more likely to help promote your business, right? So how that works, network and find like-minded individuals. So number 8 falls into does fall under SEO, but it is its separate thing. You can optimize your website experience. One of the things you can do is improve load times. So if your website loads slow, people may tend to not want to come back to it because it's loading slow. So make sure that your website does load fast. The average time for a website to load is anywhere between 1 and 4 seconds. If it's taking longer than that for your website to load, then there are some things that you can do to make it to help it load faster. I won't go into too much detail, but if you would like to talk about that, let me know in the chat. Make it mobile friendly. So there are websites out there that are not mobile friendly, and usually for larger companies, I'll say like a news website, right? They have two versions of their website. They have a mobile version and then they have a desktop version. Normally, if you're on a mobile device, it should, if they have it set up correctly, it should automatically take you to the mobile version of their website. I've encountered websites where they do not have a mobile version, so you have to look on your phone. You have to look at the desktop version on the browser on your phone, and that sucks because a lot of times you can't see and you actually have to enlarge the website. So make sure your website is mobile friendly. That way people can, when they pull it up on their phone, they can use it easily. They can see things on the website easily. So the best way to check to see if your website is mobile friendly is to actually go to your website, go to the website on your phone and look at it for yourself. So if it's not what you want, then talk to whoever developed your website. Talk to them about how to make it more mobile friendly. All right. Use clear call to actions like a book now or download free guide. So one way to drive traffic is to say, hey, I have this 10-step course that I'm giving away for free, right? So you will post that on the social media, linking that free guide that's on your website, linking it in the post. So that way when people are like, oh, a free guide, okay, cool. Click on the link, sends them to your website, they download the free guide. You've just successfully driven traffic to your website. And that's one way of driving traffic. I've done that a couple times. There are a couple PDFs that I've created that explain different things, and that's helped drive traffic to my website. So I've done that. I do know CTA, which is called call to action. I do know that works. So second here. I have not checked. Right. All right. So we are at the end here. So, with all that said, when you do all of these things, right? When you do the search engine optimization, social media, email, paid ads, collabs, giveaways, being active in your community, optimizing a website, what you can do for all of those different strategies is you want to actually track to see if any of that worked, right? If any of those strategies worked in helping drive traffic to your website, you want to see the analytics. You want to see if it was successful, right? There's several different ways of doing that. You can use the Google Search Console or Google Analytics. Both of those services, you have to link your website to Google, and they show you how to do that online. But you want to be able to see the actual numbers, to actually see what you're doing is successful. Quick example: the client who does the baking blog post, the traffic to their website shot up about 600-700% for the couple of days after posting the blog post, right? It was instantaneous, right? And they could see that in the analytics on the back end. And that was a great moment for me because I had basically coached them through that and showed them how to do that. Now, have they been consistent with it? No, right? But now that they know, what they can do, or what needs to be done to drive traffic, they have that knowledge in their back pocket now. Now they just have to find time to be consistent, and to write a blog post every so often. But you want to be able to track your progress, to know exactly what's working, what's not working, right? You may be putting money into Google Ads and no one is going to your website through those ads, right? So you may need to adjust or edit your ad, or you may just want to dump it altogether because the ads may not be working, but your email contact is working, right? So you're contacting your clients through email, and that seems to be working. So you may want to take the money for the ads, invest it into your email marketing, or your social media may be jumping, right? But the ads aren't working, email isn't working, so you might want to ditch the email or cut back on the email, cut back on the ads to save money and focus on the social media, right? I do have a couple clients where, for whatever reason, they get they're on all of this, they're on all of social media, but all of their traffic, or 90% of their traffic, comes from Instagram for whatever reason. Everybody just goes and try to do everything through Instagram, which is cool because now they just have this one place where they know all their clients are going to be coming from, and they know that, right? And they use that to their advantage. So just be cognizant of that. Pay attention to where your audience is and where they're not, and look at what's working and what's not working. So I have this. This is a blog post on my website, so the link is in the description. I will toss the link inside of the chat again as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. You can inbox me, email, all that stuff. All that great stuff is on the website as well too. So ways to contact me. You can contact me on the website. Also have a help desk on the website as well. So if you want to submit a ticket, I do check that at least 3 to 4 times a day. I do get notifications, so you can actually send a help desk ticket if you have a question or concern or anything like that. But since there's no questions in the chat, I am going to end the live stream now. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the work week. Hopefully you'll come back next week for the next live stream. I will be posting the topic for next week's live stream tomorrow, so be sure to keep a lookout for that on all of social media, Facebook, Instagram,